Hello everybody, how are you? Welcome Wolfpack. How is everybody tonight? We are live, Monday night. Everybody jump in. Make sure you say hello as you come in. I want to see everybody say hello. Say your name in the comments box. Make sure I know that you're here. Say g'day. I hope everybody's excited. Mr. Joel, how are you, my brother? Come on in, everyone. Say g'day. Let's stack this room out tonight. It is exciting tonight. We have got a lot going on. It's been a massive weekend. I hope everybody is super excited. Mate, feeling good, Jolly boy. Mr. Joe Garouch is in the house. How are you, big fella? Mona's here. Say hello when you come on in. I'll give everybody 60 seconds. Miss Julie, Matt Hatter. Russell, my brother, is in the house. Leah, how are you? Hello, Jeanette. How you doing? Howdy to you too. Lawrence is here. Say hello, Mr. Russell. How is everybody tonight? I hope everybody is super excited. Here we are, Wolfpack Day 15. Can you believe it? We are halfway through this amazing challenge. Guys, let me know in the comments box while we're waiting. Let me see if you've been getting some value out of this, what you've got, what are your key takeaways, what have you actually got out of this. Tony, g'day my brother, how are you? Pete Irish, wow, I haven't seen that name for a while. G'day sir. Michelle Lee, hello darling. So let me know as you're coming in, how's everybody been? What sort of excitement have you got out of this? What sort of takeaways? How's it all been going so far? We are stacking up fast tonight. We've got a big crowd on, which is fantastic. There is a lot of excitement in the air for a lot of reasons, and I'm super excited to be here actually. So let's get this party started. I'll give it another 30 seconds. Stack them in, stack them in. Mr. Pete Irish, g'day sir, how are ya? Went shark diving with Pete. We went great white shark diving off the coast of South Australia. Hello miss, how are you? Hi. Good to see you too, Tony. All right, Wolfpack. Let's get this party started. How is everybody? I hope everybody is firing away. As I say, we are at day 15. Here we are halfway through the 30-day challenge. First of all, massive congratulations to each and every single one of you for making it this far. There is a hell of a lot of people that started this challenge. We had over 1,600 people do this challenge on day one. We have had over 2,000 views of video one. But if you've made it to this point halfway through the challenge, you are in the top 1% of the 1%ers. So give yourselves a massive round of applause. I know that we've done some amazing things over this bit. Some of the testimonials and some of the feedback I've been able to get from people has been truly life-saving for me and life-changing for me, I should say, because it is absolutely just verified that there is an absolute need and a want from you guys to want to know more, grow more. And I think it's important, and in this Wolfpack Challenge, that we really give you the raw juice, and I don't water down this stuff. I give it to you straight from the heart, because a lot of people say that you guys, oh no, don't give everybody all of that stuff because they're not ready for it. I call bullshit. I know that my wolves are ready for it, that's for sure. So let's get this thing happening. How are you feeling? Let me tell you, wolves, if you're here tonight listening to this call on the 15th day, you really are someone who has the personal strength to create, and not only create, but absolutely harness your own internal personal strength. Tonight we're going to go through something we call a ritual. Now, what is a ritual? A ritual is a habitual way of looking at the world. How you talk to yourself and move your body. What you choose consciously or subconsciously. It's a habit and that you have set up and installed. Does that make sense? Feeling amazing. Yes, you are, Leah. Me too. Good. Think of a ritual as a code for your brain. Okay, so wolves, tonight, day 15, it's the perfect time, halfway through the challenge, to explore what we call the power of rituals. Tonight, you will learn the wolf, the WOLF, how to condition yourself to take consistent action towards the goals that you've created, and how to prevent one of your habitual rituals from keeping us from the abundance that's truly expected in our lives. So That ritual is called procrastination. So we're going to target that head on today because we know procrastination is really like a silent killer. It's a habit that keeps us from getting what we actually want. And most of us tend not to focus on it because it seems like such a small thing. Unfortunately, this small thing can literally become a habit, and worse, an unconscious habit, right? So success rituals, on the other hand, can help us build consistently and commitment, and each one of us are controlled by one thing, and that's our own personal rituals. As mentioned previously, habits developed over time become rituals. So the purpose of tonight's session is to identify the thought habits which we've been caught up in and are controlling us and are not serving us or are burnt out and are so cold, some of them are, we're not even aware of. We must condition habits which will pull us to the goals that we want, right? The goals that we set the other day. So once you understand how to set up your rituals, you can then turn them around and change them if you need to. Okay, think about this. Do you have an emotion that you feel on a regular basis? Are you angry, frustrated, or you're happy on a consistent basis? If so, are these emotions affecting the quality of your life? It's usually a yes, they are affecting your daily actions. The answer to these questions, I also believe, for most people is a resounding yes. So what are you doing daily to feel the correct emotions, right? Believe it or not, these emotions don't just happen. In order to feel an emotion consistently, we need to work on it. It actually takes effort. Remember how we talked about taking on certain body posture and think certain things in our head in a certain way? Well, to feel an emotion, whether it be positive or negative, it's the result of what we call a ritual. You have ritual ways of looking at the world, ritual ways about your body posture. Ritual is like a ceremony, something done over and over again, like a code that your brain runs on. Does that make sense? Excellent. So think about birthdays, Christmas, Mother's Day. For many, these are fun rituals where everyone gets together and celebrates. They're part of our life and they help structure our life. Does that make sense? So what are the internal ritual habits that you say or do on a consistent basis that create pain and limitation in your life? Let's look at the negative ones for a few minutes. You could have picked up some of these anywhere. In a tribe you no longer belong to, maybe it's time to create some new ones. Now that you belong to this tribe, this pack, the wolves pack, you might want to create some new rituals to help you become stronger. And as a result, for the wolf getting stronger, you also make the pack stronger, right? So pull out your journal or a piece of paper right now. I want you to grab a pen and I want you to write down at least 5 negative emotions that happen regularly, things that happen to you like once or twice or even 3 times a week on average for you. Here's an example of what I'm talking about here, some negative emotions. Whether it be frustration, anger, resentment, overwhelm, maybe it's sadness or depression, maybe it's disappointment or despair, right? Maybe it's being discouraged. I don't know what it is, but I want you to write down 5 of these really quick. Write them down in your journal. Let's go. Give me a like as soon as you're done. Tell me. I want likes. I want those little flashy things. All right, so here they come now. So guys, so now we've got 5 negative emotions, right? So now for each of these emotions, what do you have to do? What do you have to believe? What ritual have you set up to create this emotion? What ritual have you set up to create, for an example, disappointment? Let me give you a couple of bit of framework around this, right? Some of the habits or ways we approach our world to set up disappointment, all right? So number 1, you might be having an expectation of other people's abilities or an expectation of perfection or an unrealistic expectation of what you want things to be in advance. Does that sound familiar? So if these things aren't happening, then all of a sudden this ritual plays out and all of a sudden you start to feel disappointment. Another ritual that can set up disappointment is you may need to have a belief that there is no other way, that no way you can change something, right? That's a really easy way to do it. So how about creating a ritual that you know that this can still happen and that you can still turn this around. Once you understand how to set up your rituals, you can turn them around and change them as you need. All right, let me tell you a little story. Excuse me. So let's look at somebody who's in a depressed state or has consciously or subconsciously set up rituals. They have set up a language and actions on a consistent basis for whatever the reason, and these have become rituals in their lives. They can easily get stuck in these rituals, reproduce the emotion by doing things like dropping their head down, frowning, thinking of negative visuals, or slouching their shoulders, or even lowering their voice, right? So we did this little game the other day where I was saying, picture someone who's depressed. What do they look like? Because their eyes go down, their shoulders slump, they usually lean forward, they start to breathe a lot more shallow, they don't breathe deep, and they start to talk from a different part of their head. So that is what we call a ritual. So it's very important what we know what the recipe is and these rituals so that we can actually look at them and not only install good ones, but also go through and start to break some of these negative ones. The great news is this: rituals can also be set up for positive emotions. Some of you may be already doing this. Have you ever been priming, like for your morning ritual, for example, to set up your day? Who's been doing the priming or at least had a go at the priming videos? Anyone? Tell me. Tell me. All right, so the strategy when we prime is to figure out that you had a positive emotion in the past, and what did you have to do? What did you have to believe? See, what is the ritual that you set up and create the actual emotion? Does that make sense? So remember, the last time you felt, for example, joyful or fun or happy, find the recipe, right? Install it and condition it so it's triggered automatically. So what is the recipe? What do you do? How do you move your body? How do you breathe? How do you speak? What tempo? What's the tone that you use? What's the volume that you use, right? These are all prime examples of actually figuring out what it is, what's the ritual behind these specific emotions. And when we set up rituals based on environmental stimuli, like think of Mother's Day or Christmas, Valentine's Day, what's the rituals and therefore the emotions do you have around these days, right? Think about the emotions that you have around those days. See, that's called conditioning. We have environmental things that trigger us. They're called anchors. Some of you may remember the anchoring we did in session 4 with the finger and the thumb, right? Remember that? That was an anchor. We started to anchor that in. So we got into a positive emotion, we created a ritual around that, and then we anchored it in, we squeezed it. So I hope you guys are still doing that and still being able to anchor these things in, because it's very important. We don't just do it once or twice. It's like going to gym. You don't go once and then all of a sudden you're all buff, right? You need to go over and over and over again. You need to condition this stuff in until it's absolutely called upon in your subconscious mind, not your conscious mind. I hope you guys are starting to get this now after I've been talking about it now for 15 days. So what is ideal is that you want a lifelong success, joy, peace, passion, be happy, have more money, be closer to friendships, or being able to make a difference in the world, and all of the emotions that you desire, right? So this is how we do it. Step 1, for you to become aware and get clear on how to run your brain, you need to discover the negative rituals and discard them by linking them to so much pain than what the pleasure is that you actually get out of it. Does that make sense? So you anchor in so much pain that you would absolutely do anything in your mind to kill that ritual. Now, we've done examples of this, but we're going to do some more tonight because it is very important. Step 2, you need to interrupt the ritual pattern. Example, next time you're in the ritual that you want to change, do something weird, like grab your nose or make a weird sound, or just do something different. Do it unexpected. Do a weird, creative, just an outrageous sort of move, right? Remember, what we're trying to do is interrupt the pattern. It's like us scratching the CD. I have one that I use all the time. I say to people, sucked in, right? I just do it randomly. I remember talking to somebody just recently, and the person had a genuine problem that he was dealing with, and he was telling me this problem, and he went right into state. And as he went into this state, into this emotion, He was so emotionally anchored into that moment, and I couldn't help myself. I looked around, grabbed him and said, sucked in, right? And he looked at me like, what? Did you just honestly say that? Yes, I did. Yes, that's exactly what I said. And I'm not afraid to say that. Why? Because they're not expecting it. So it breaks the pattern. It starts to interrupt the pattern. Does that make sense? Cool. Step 3, we need to create a new ritual or a pattern. And we need to set up anchors, which we'll go through and work through tomorrow, right? So to continue the exercise, what we need to do is find the recipe, the step-by-step process, which creates each of the negative emotions that you listed above. Remember the 5 negative emotions? We need to find the step-by-step pattern. What's the ritual that you do that's happening consistently in your life, right? And then we need to write down your rituals for each of these emotions, what you must do in your mind in order to feel them. What are the recipes that you have for creating these emotional states? All right, so it's very, very hard to do these unless you go through a set pattern. You will have a set pattern on how you do these over and over again. So what we're going to do right now, you've got your 5 little negative emotions. I want you to just quickly just think of these and start to write down some steps that you do on a consistent basis to feel these emotions. So let's take a couple of minutes, write it down. I don't actually have any music tonight, so I will sing. No, I won't sing, but I want you to write down just a little bit about what you do. What are your rituals for those 5 negative emotions? And go, write them down on your journal. Don't worry about writing it on the live, but just give me some likes when you're ready to go so I know. Yeah, told you I wasn't going to sing. That is a ritual pattern of Shane Anderson on how to act like an idiot. I have a complete recipe on that. I do the same thing every time. All right, so quickly write them down. What is some of the rituals that you do on a consistent basis to feel that negative emotion? Right. Scribble. Let me know some likes when you're done. Come on, guys, play full tilt. Good. You're doing awesome. Excellent, excellent. So we got some people coming through. So what did you learn? Okay, have a look at this. I want you to look down. I want you to have a look at this. What did you learn? What did you find out about yourself? You see, you're the creator of your own emotions and your own rituals, right? Rituals all have a consistency and have triggers or anchors. And once you become aware of them and how you identify what you're doing and how you actually run the ritual, it's like depression or frustration, etc. It makes it much easier to break. So here's a really big tip, right? Avoid saying things like I am. Remember, I was saying I am is one of the most powerful phrases that are in the English language. So if somebody says something like, I am depressed, right? That is a dangerous thing to be actually saying to yourself. We do not want to be creating our own identity through an emotion. This is a destructive behavior. It's our self-image and it just eliminates all of our personal power. So an alternative could be, I am running a ritual that makes me feel depressed or makes me feel bad. And that feeling of feeling bad, I call failure, right? So here's a great tip for you. Develop the habit, the ritual of saying I want to, or I get to, or I choose to, instead of I have to, right? These are just simple phrases, but if you start to break this down all of the time, you'll start to get some real momentum here, right? If you start saying, I choose to, rather than I have to, which is usually something people say and they feel underlying pain. So changing your language changes your state, right? You know there is a great book which you must pick up and read. I touched on this the other day. It's called As a Man Thinketh, right? By James Allen. I just want to read you a bit of a quote out of that. It really reinforces what we're learning about here. So the quote in the book says, man is made or unmade by himself in the armory of thought. He forges the weapons by which he destroys himself. He also fashions the tools with which he builds for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace. By the right choice and true application of thought, man ascends to the divine perfection. By the abuse and wrong application of thought, he descends below the level of the beast. Between these two extremes are all the grades of character, and man is the marker and the master, right? Of all the beautiful truths pertaining the soul which have been restored and brought to light in this age, none is more gladdening or fruitful of divine promise and confidence than this, that man is the master of thought, the molder of character, and maker and shaper of condition, environment, and destiny, right? So that is a passage from that book, and I want you to really understand that. I want you to be able to use this as your own inspirational quote, to not only draw from it knowledge, but use it, even if it's just this one thing. That is the power of your personal strength, taking action. Guys, this whole 15 days that we've been going through this, you need to understand that it's absolutely your personal power. This is your choice. Remember the wolf pack motto, the wolf training. It stands for know your why. Go onward, right? You need to create some action to get through. You need to learn along the way. That's the L. And then yes, the F stands for be flexible. That means if you're not getting the joy, the passion, the inner strength, the personal power out of what you have chosen, maybe it's time to reconnect to your divine self, whether that's your spiritual being or you as a whole or your more creative brain, right? But just understand that your actions are to get joy or happiness or abundance, or whatever it may be. What is the ultimate goal that you're doing, and how do we create the steps, and how do we do the actions and be flexible enough along the way to actually get there? Make sense? Cool. Awesome. Let me know when you're done. Let me know. All right, so next exercise. What are some of the empowering or positive emotions that you feel on a consistent basis, right? I want to know, what are the 5 positive emotions that enhance your life? For example, love or generosity, contribution, maybe it's effectiveness, maybe it's competence, maybe it's just success or happiness, or maybe it's joy or connectedness. Does that work? I think so. Maybe it's gratitude, right? What are the 5 empowering emotions that you feel on a day-to-day basis? Write them down, quick. I'm in a good mood today. Oh yeah. Right, so we've got 5 positive emotions. Good. How do you do it? Next to each one, I want to know the recipe. What is the ritual that you do on a consistent basis to feel in that way? Write that down quickly. Go. What do you do on a consistent basis to feel those 5 positive emotions? What do you have to feel? What do you visualize on? What do you do? How do you hold your body? Do you hold your shoulders back, or do they slouch forward? Is your breastplate facing down, or is it facing up? Are you walking like you've got a cape on your back, or you're walking like you've got a ton of bricks on your back? Talk about it. Think about it. What is the actions? What body language? How do you breathe? How do you talk? Do you talk slower? Do you talk more in your face? Good. And now step 3 in this. We're going to set up anchors to strengthen your positive ritual. Right? We'll be doing the anchoring process tomorrow, but I need to know this stuff, so write it all down today. Right? Very cool. Excellent. So a summary of tonight's session, right? The power of rituals. Now, hopefully we've got 5 negative emotions and 5 positive emotions, and we have a list of things, the recipe, the rituals that we do on a consistent basis to feel those emotions. Make sense? So tonight, we've gone through it all. If you're feeling any emotion, positive or negative, on a regular basis, it is the result of an internal ritual. Your rituals consist of habitual ways of looking at the world, talking to yourself, and moving your body. Our consistent emotions shape our character and then ultimately our destiny, right? So procrastination itself is nothing but a ritual. It's something that you do over and over again. We want to develop the habit of moving your body to interrupt the pattern of procrastination. You got to use your body to change your state. Here's another fun way to deal with procrastination. Get it off autopilot and get control of your brain and start steering your awareness to create the results that you actually want. If you already know your procrastination ritual, use it. The easiest way to break the habit of procrastination is to procrastinate about procrastination. So here's a really simple trick. If you want to stop procrastinating about it, just procrastinate on that. Instead of going into your procrastination ritual, just put that off for a little while. Okay? Makes sense? Tell yourself you have to procrastinate next week, right? So that's an easy way just to get that right through. Right now, you have work to be completed, right? You have to produce a result. If you're already good at procrastination, then you already know how to do this. Your exercise tonight is very simple. If you procrastinate, write down your recipe. What do you do? What do you say? What do you distract yourself with? What excuses do you come up with? How do you move your body? What is your breathing like? What is your awareness of your procrastination ritual? Right? It's important to know this stuff if you actually want to change it. Does that make sense? Very good. Awesome. So to finish off for tonight, here's a sequence that reminds us of how my thoughts create my destiny. Right? Here's a sequence. So you sow a thought and you reap an action. You sow an action, you reap a habit. If you sow a set of habits, you reap a character. If you sow a character, you reap your destiny. See, all of this stuff is interlinked, and I want you to think about that. I want you to break down, make sure that you have all your rituals absolutely in order, ready for tomorrow. We are on the home stretch of this thing. Tomorrow is day 16. We have something very different tomorrow. It's going to involve anchoring and swish patterns, right? Or swishing, right? So we're going to get right deep tomorrow. It's going to be deep. We have got a massive time coming up this week. Let me tell you, I am really, really excited how it's going to all break down. What I want to really know is I want you to get sure of yourself, make sure you understand your rituals, and then tomorrow we're going to start to anchor in the positive ones, and we are going to use the swish pattern to get rid of the negative ones. Deal? Awesome. Tomorrow, Wolves, tune in tomorrow. Make sure you are here bright and early. Wolves Pack, give me a howl. Oh! Make sure you're going out and seeing the moon each and every night. We are halfway through this challenge. I want you to absolutely celebrate, and remember, be flexible. Be the person that you were meant to be. A wolf never gives a shit what the bloody sheep think of him. So make sure you step up your game. Make sure you absolutely play life at a full tilt level. And just, if you're starting to procrastinate, just put it off. Okay? Procrastinate about the procrastination. Wolves, I will see you tomorrow. Good night.